Hello, welcome. My name's Isaiah. This is my best friend here.
I'm Tyler.
Also Tyler John the Don. Right now, we have been thinking of starting a podcast for a while. So here goes, guys. Welcome to Skoom Speech.
So what's been up, man? Haven't seen you in a while. We've both been busy.
Exactly. So here's what I think. Here's what I think about life and people our age. I think there's a couple categories. I think people like to have fun, or people are willing to sacrifice. I think if you haven't committed fully to one of those roads, you're probably messing up already.
Yeah.
T, where do you think you fit in those two categories?
Definitely sacrifice. Definitely motivated, driven. I have a large goal in mind, and I'm willing to sacrifice things to make it there.
Me and my friend Tyler, we are, what would you say? We're like, I wouldn't say that we're almost opposites, but we have, like, he balances me out a lot. I'm a pretty emotional guy. I'm a pretty extreme guy. I'd rather go left or right. He's an extremely balanced person and, super logical, rational, whatever you call it.
Yeah, I like to take calculated risks.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I'd rather just risk.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we kind of balance each other out in that way, and that's kind of on the ground level of what our friendship's based off of, I'd say.
Yeah, I would agree.
We both like to smoke cigars. We both like to dress up, as you see. He's always dressed up. What you wearing today? What color is that?
It's just a navy blue suit with a red tie. Nice white button up. You just got new American flag pins in the mail. So,
So back to these roads we were talking about, right? One side, hey, I'm looking to have fun, and yeah, I'm gonna go balls to the wall with having fun. The other side is, hey, I want to sacrifice for a better tomorrow. I wonder what you guys think. Do you think being in the middle of that is even possible to get, like, is it possible to do both? What do you think? Honestly, can you have fun and party
and be balls to the wall partying and sacrifice to make it to where you can one day be a 1%er? I don't know. I think it's possible if you have the right connections to people, but they would have had to already make it. I think your camera died.
No, still going.
Okay, bet. So, I don't think that... Normally, no. Normally, I don't think you can. I don't think you can just party and have fun and then make it to be a 1%er. Like people we might be inspired by.
Do you think the 1% is even worth it?
Me personally?
Sure.
Yeah. I told my woman, I said, I want to...
Your woman? Whoa. Now we're talking about woman? Uh-oh.
One day, I want to have enough houses for my kids so I can give all my kids one. I don't care if it's 8 kids. Give all of them one, and I still have 3. I want a vacation home, a primary home, and another vacation home. 3 full-size, full furnished houses of my own. After giving my kids theirs.
Here's what I think, right? Obviously, this guy's different. Obviously, you're a little different. And we can explain what that means. But let's say you're talking to someone, right? And they're like, yeah, man, I want to be in the 1%. Do they? Like, does that person truly want to?
I think you'd have to look at their actions on a daily basis. What does sacrifice mean to them would be my first question. Oh, you want to be a 1%er? What are you willing to give up right now? Right now. What is one spending thing you like to spend money on a regular basis? What are you willing to drop right now to be that 1%er in 10 years? In 10 years.
I think I've asked you this question before, but let's say we're talking to that same random person.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not judging them or thinking, that we are more hardworking than them or anything. But if you could say, hey, man, or woman, or person, you have a guarantee to receive this if you sacrifice this.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think if it was guaranteed, do you think they'd be willing to sacrifice it?
Well, yeah. If we know what an outcome is going to be and something's guaranteed, like you buy a new TV, it's guaranteed to be high def. That's why you bought the TV. I give up smoking cigars because I'm guaranteed to be a 1%er in 10 years. Then yeah, because it's a guarantee. It's like fail proof.
So, and I was saying this to an older lady. Old people are wise guys. If you have an old person in your life, I mean, you know more than me. This guy's a big family man. He sings with his family as much as possible. If you have an old person in your life, go talk to them. Go ask them questions. They know things. So I had this conversation with the older person.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, isn't that exactly what it is? Aren't you guaranteed? Like, back to that scenario. Yeah. Aren't you guaranteed if you were to sacrifice?
I think so.
So then why don't people do it? Because I agree with you, and I agree.
I think that they don't do it because of comfortability.
It is guaranteed, though, right?
Yeah, but comfortability holds you back. Oh, I'm comfortable hanging out with my friends and going to the bar. Oh, I'm comfortable with, whatever it might be. Everyone's thing is different. Me, recently, I gave up completely cold turkey, not only vaping, but smoking marijuana, because I know that those 2 weekly purchases won't get me to where I want to be, because weekly I'm buying this.
Is it even about comfortability? Because imagine when someone looks deep inside their heart, how can you be comfortable with anything? Where you're at in life, what you already have.
Some people really don't strive to do better.
But there's an expression, right? I don't want more. I don't ask for much, but I ask for more. Something like that. Something like that. Not much. I don't ask for much, but I ask for more.
Yeah, one extra thing.
Sure.
I don't ask for much, but I want comfortability.
So, well, because of that, how could you be comfortable? Like, let's say you have a comfortable life, your kids are safe, you have a house, you have a car, you have someone that you love and are attracted to.
Mm-hmm.
How could you not be comfortable saying, well, I want, whatever, a faster car and a bigger home and happier kids?
Yeah. I think that is where a lot of people get to, especially, those 1%ers. I mean, we see them from the outside of what they betray, but deep down inside of them, behind closed doors, they probably do want something different.
That's a good point. You're right.
Yeah. I think we could talk about...
You're right. That's a good point.
I could talk to any wealthy person I know currently. Yeah. And they probably do have one thing that they would change,
That's a good point.
That maybe they are comfortable where they are.
Yeah.
But they're not willing to sacrifice a change to get someplace else because they don't have to. They've already made it, and it's like, this is a choice I've made.
I have to walk away from to get that 1%. Do you think, and let's say they knew they could do it, and they knew it was guaranteed.
Yeah.
What percent of them do you think would even just want to do it? Even if they were capable, and it was nothing, yeah, I can do that. Is this something really to strive for? Maybe that's where I'm getting at.
No. That's why the 1% is the 1%.
Oh, that's a good one.
Because, think about it. Once you hit certain thresholds, family members become different. And if your own family's willing to get different, then your friend group's going to get different, and other things around this is going to change.
That's a good point.
Are you willing to accept the amount of change versus what you know currently?
It's a good point.
Not a lot of people can just cut ties and things like that with a lot of people to be able to get to where they really want to get.
It's a good point, because let's say you're on your road to the 1% and you start having more money around.
Yeah.
That's what you mean. Like, now your family may change. Hey, can I get some money? Or your friends, or...
They come to you not because of the genuine work you can put in. Like me, I landscape. I landscape for everyone in my family, practically for free. And if there is a task that I can't get to myself, I'll hire a landscaper to cover while I'm not around or available.
Yeah.
And...
Is that can empty? You got stuff in there?
No, I have stuff in there. I would just put it to the side. So what happens is, I can imagine they start asking for handouts instead of just your genuine time with them or the genuine time you can put in to help them. It would be, well, if you give me this, then I can afford this and you won't have to worry about it. So now the conversations change. That would probably hurt my feelings personally. I would rather cut people off.
I was just about to ask that. Because you're a family man for sure.
Yeah.
If you had to cut your family off to reach the 1%, would you? And is that wrong? It's a It's a two-parter.
Yeah, well,
Is it? Would you
First
do it,
of
and
all-
is it wrong? Would you do it?
I think if I had to, yes, I could.
Would you?
I could. Would I?
Of course you could. You could
Yeah.
go to the moon, man. Freaking,
Yeah, I know.
we're human beings out here. We can do anything.
I
Look
know.
at these thumbs.
You said, you said, would I?
Yeah.
No, I would try not to. I would personally try not to. I would really hope I had more faith in my family that they could handle it than it becoming all of a monopoly BS with me. And what was the second question?
Do you think it'd be wrong if you did or were willing to?
Well, if you had to cut them off, and if that is the choice that you plan to make, I don't think it would be wrong personally, because once you get to a certain degree in life, you have to look out for yourself. Like, there's gonna be people that actually try to take you out for real, like no longer breathing oxygen because they might be jealous.
Damn.
Young Dolph, R.I.P.
Yeah, I never thought about that.
Yeah. So some people you have to. Greed is a serious drug.
Why? Why do you think humans are such social beings? I mean, that's kind of a dumb question.
Yeah, I'm a religious person. I believe that we were made to be social because we always thrive to know something more.
Good one.
We want good conclusions, and we want we want to be able to come to the same conclusion, of course. I mean, it's the same reason why we even have debates, coming to the best social outcome for one another. So we have to. We obviously all can agree on what is right and wrong. To a degree, right?
Whoa!
To a degree.
Double whoa!
I think we can all agree that there are certain crimes that are definitely wrong.
Let's touch on morality a little bit. As you
What?
know, I like to listen to audiobooks. I like to listen to philosophy. So that's where some of the stuff that I say is going to come from. And I have no formed opinion yet, because I'm still learning. But yeah, what is right and wrong?
I think that when you're doing something right or wrong, you can feel it in your heart. It's an emotion you get. This is right and this is wrong. Making a cup of coffee and cereal in the morning together, it's just like these things go together and it's normal. But if you woke up and decided to do a heinous crime while you're doing, it's one thing to think something, but then whenever you go through with it, the emotion you get inside while you go through with it is,
So here's what I've been listening to. So you're talking about consciousness, right? Or conscience.
Yeah, as close as I could while trying to avoid it, but yeah.
So here's how I heard it. So consciousness, the reason why consciousness allows us to have that feeling is because consciously, with our brain, we can imagine and abstract scenarios where we didn't do the wrong thing.
Right.
So, and I don't know, because of that, I don't know, I feel like people hold so much weight. There's so much to say. People hold so much weight in our intellect, in our consciousness, in our big brains, and how we're smarter than animals.
Yeah.
Seeing how humans didn't have to work for that.
It just came naturally, is what you mean?
More or less.
Okay.
Like, that's one reason why I think it's maybe wrong to put so much value in it, not really to relate that morality.
Right.
And then, here's another good one. Like, what we do consciously and with rational thought, animals do naturally and don't have to think about.
Yeah.
Like, eat, sleep, have children. Like, we have to use our brain to do all that. Animals just do it.
Yeah. There's more of a sense of survival versus the socialization and acceptance. I mean, what do you have to do in an animal kingdom to be really kicked out, you know?
It's a good one.
And then humans are a whole nother thing, to where we have a long list of do's and do nots, and follow these rules and you'll be fine, right?
So, as you know, I'm a big fan of Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
Huge fan of Jordan
Just watching
Peterson.
him earlier.
So,
Good guy.
and you kind of brought up something like, oh, what do animals have to do to get kicked out? I don't know if it's monkeys. I don't remember the animal, but kind of what happens with
Chimpanzee.
one of the animals is like well, I know crocodiles do it actually, but
Oh yeah.
so yeah, when like there's a dominant alpha crocodile, he'll like scare and shoo off all the other male crocodiles because he doesn't want him mating with his group of
options.
women. Yeah. And yeah, so Jordan Peterson said that's kind of a lot like how humans are, as in like we do a lot of things for whatever sexual activity or whatever. Like that's one reason why like he feels like we've developed the way that we've developed and our brains developed the way to develop so we could basically be viewed by women in a way to procreate. Does that make sense?
I think it does make sense, you know, and I mean there could be a multiple aspects to that. Maybe either the way that a male carries himself or the amount of money he makes a year, he uses that. Maybe the way they dress.
Well, all of that.
If they go to the gym or not.
All of that.
Things, you know?
I mean, to kind of be viewed sexually in a way to procreate with a woman.
Absolutely.
You gotta be placed high on a hierarchy.
Well, I wouldn't say necessarily that. I don't think that it has to do with your value in a hierarchy. It could be, because think about this. A comic woman, like a woman that's big into comics and video games, she's going to get a guy that likes comics and video games. Me personally, guys, don't talk to me about comics or video games. I don't do either one. I think my own thing, and I stay busy in other ways. But you see what I'm saying?
Well, here's where I'll dispute you. So, since we're such social beings with communication, and mostly the social part, in order to function in a social way with society, there has to be some sort of hierarchy.
Right.
Because there has to be some sort of...
Oh, for sure.
Well, yeah, there has to be some sort of law and order.
Well, that's the reason why we have judges and lawyers, and they do make their social bracket, and they will attract girls of that nature. People who like a man that has the, you know, like you said, the iron fist maybe, or the, what'd you say?
Here's how I see hierarchy. Here's how I mean it.
Okay.
I mean it as in like, almost like a priority list or whatever. I'm trying to think of the word, like a value system.
Yep. Okay.
That's kind of how I mean hierarchy.
Yeah.
As in, this is valuable, and then this like it's a ranking of valuable.
Values. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where your values.
That's what I'm saying by hierarchy. So
what are your values? If your values are to be a good family man and to make ends meet and not have the woman of the household stressed over if a bill's going to be paid, and that could be your values in your hierarchy.
Well, I'm trying to get super deep here, or pretty deep. So I'm saying like, there's women, right?
Yeah.
And there's men.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're social beings with structure and order and communication, there's like a value system of men. Like the women are looking at men, and they have a value system of the men.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've evolved to try to be higher on this value system. When I say value system, like valuable to a woman.
Right.
And that can mean a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
It could be you're a super comic, you know a lot about comics.
Yeah.
And you're valuable to a woman who likes comics because they value comics as well.
Right.
So you look valuable.
Right. I mean, as far as just like what their social circle might look like, you know, say it's a car meet kind of thing, you meet a girl at a car meet, and then she likes cars, and you got a fastback at your house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so I think values just goes based upon the person themselves. Me personally, I operate based off the values and the morals of the church.
Yep.
So I've created my future family, now current family, around that and the values and morals of the religion that I practice. So, you know, you can find things in less minuscule or more and work in between, which what you finally put your foot down and say, this is the man I am. And boom, I think eventually natural attraction will put you with something that falls in the lines of what your big out goal would be. If you plan on having children, are you going to have big comic kids, or are you going to have kids that have the problem going to Sunday school and all that other stuff?
What do you think? I agree.
Yeah, right.
What do you agree, or what do you think men on this system of value, viewing women, what do you think men value?
Men value what?
When they look at women,
Yeah.
let's in a way that it should be, right? To
Yeah.
procreate,
Yeah.
like in a totally normal, nice way that isn't subjective or
Right.
objectifying women. Who
Right.
actually want to take care of the woman and make them their everything and have a family.
And actually have a home.
Yeah, yeah.
And all that.
The reason for
Where do
sex,
they-
more
where-
or less.
Right. Where do they value women?
Yeah.
Well-
What do you think a man values?
I think it would be their social skills, the woman's social skills.
Really?
Yeah,
That's an
think so.
interesting answer.
I think it would be that.
What do you mean?
because-
Tell me more.
Well, I like somebody that's bubbly but yet easy to talk to and have a deep intellectual conversation with, because I think on a deep level all the time, and my partner knows that, and her and I, we bounce ideas off each other all the time. And yeah, I mean, personally, that's where mine goes too, is I want someone I can have a good conversation with whenever I can't get in contact with someone like you or someone else I might have deeper conversations with,
Yeah.
and try to get her viewpoints on it and stuff like that. I value her pretty high.
Do you
personally.
think so? With what you said, I mean, and that kind of just makes you more attracted to the woman.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's
Yeah, I couldn't be with a ditch.
interesting.
I need someone that is okay with going to law school or psychology and getting a degree. I need somebody that's okay with that, so that way I feel more comfortable of, like you said, you listen to a lot of books, me too, and the things I get from these books, I want to talk to a major of some sort. I want to send her to school, get her thinking like this, and now I can have someone on my level, I think.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
That's a weird answer because I'm not coming at you.
Oh.
How does that relate to like the family children thing?
If she's an intellectual type as well, then I don't have to have any worries about what the heck she might be telling my kids when I'm not there.
That's something you'd worry about?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, I have passed with people that I do worry about that. What do they talk to other kids about?
You got kids, right?
Yeah.
How many kids you got?
4.
4 kids, guys. I don't even think I own 4 pairs of shoes. We're in Connecticut, by the way.
I own 4 suits.
We're in Connecticut, if you guys are wondering. Again, this is Skoom Speech. So, I don't know, maybe we can jump back to morality. Or let's jump to this. So,
Yeah, more questions. What you got?
well, the Darwin guy, right? The guy that teaches at school, Charles Darwin, the
Yeah.
freaking evolution.
Darwinism and all
Yeah,
that?
yeah. So,
That's a good guy.
I
That guy teaches you.
I dispute all of that, right? I dispute all of that. Listening to the Friedrich Nietzsche guy, the philosopher guy, right? He kind of, instead of thinking that, what is Darwinism? What, we evolved to survive, right? Or something like
I
that?
think something along those lines, yeah. Is that the guy that, he believes in evolution?
Yeah,
Darwinism, evolution and all that?
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't follow him too close. I was more of a Hermetica type of guy myself. Hermes Trismegistus.
Oh, what do you know about him? We've never talked about that.
That was my guy.
You know about
remember?
him?
Yeah, you remember?
When I talked to the book, he told me how I know it's the Channel 3 Initiates that you listen to.
Yeah.
Or the Master Lock Key or whatever.
Yeah, the Master Key Society.
Yeah.
And a few of his books went through there. And
Nah, you don't know about him.
dude, this is far back now. But you were in another relationship, and I was like, dude, because you always ask me all the time in the morning, you'd be like, T, how do you just get through this stuff? And I was like, dude, I just listen to books, buddy.
Yeah.
And this philosophy type stuff really helps me get through, It helps me think like calm and rationally and how to meditate, and then Hermetica and all this comes into that, And you were like, man, I don't got time for books because the relationship you were in.
Yeah.
You were living life on a million, So I was like, all right, it's not time for him just yet, whatever. So I kept on pushing, whatever. But yeah, it was around that time. That's probably like 3 years ago now.
What? I forgot. So we could talk a lot about that. So
I'm just that guy.
So there's this book, guys. It's called The Kabbalion.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it goes over like Hermetic principles. I think there's like 7.
Yep.
There's like polarity, rhythm, mentalism.
You probably read the book more recently than I have because I don't remember all of them.
It's a good book. I've read it a couple times.
Yeah.
And
you can find this book free on YouTube.
So
Master Key Society.
So let's see. So I'm trying to think. I don't know if I can ask you any questions. So, well, anything that you've learned from that, how have you used in your life?
Definitely. I could say this one. This is my favorite one. I use this one often. I use this one a lot, and it is the practice of, actually, old Japanese samurai,
Okay.
and Joe Rogan talks about him too. And he went by the practice of it is what it is.
Okay.
And that's really, like, if you boil the Hermetica down into that, and then you also listen to the book of the 5 rings, is it? 7 rings? 5 rings?
5 rings.
The book of the 5 rings. And I'm drawing a blank on his name right now. Miyamoto Musashi.
Yep.
So if you listen to the Hermetica and Miyamoto Musashi's books of 5 rings, you'll gather out of the combination of these 2 books that these are 2 very stoic men that wrote these books.
Yeah.
And what they both said was, it is what it is. When a relationship fails, when a pet dies, a family member passes away, these are hard things to digest.
Yeah.
Naturally, as they should be, right? Because these things in life have made an impact on us. But once it's over, not to chase if A, the person that has separated themselves from you still is alive, or B, the thing you love a lot is now deceased. It is what it is helped me a lot because I recently raised my own pet squirrel and something went terribly wrong. He's not with us anymore.
He ate him that.
No, but I had to remind myself because both my sisters and the girl I'm with now, they were torn up about this. Oh my goodness, how is this not eating you alive, you know?
Yeah.
And I looked at him and I said, it is what it is. What do you want to do? You want to help me get his heart to pump again? No, it won't happen.
Yeah.
Or a breakup. Well, it is what it is. You want me to change this person's mind to feel this way emotion for me again? Well, no, because I believe you should never force a hand. So
Yeah.
I don't think that overworking yourself is going to make anybody appreciate or love you more. So what you do is you find values in yourself and you increase those values and you move forward and let everything in the past stay there.
I agree with that last part a lot. We're going to get into something, and we've never talked about this. And, you know, that is one of the main things that you're tons better at than me and that I look up to you huge for. You're an extremely stoic guy. And, right, when I started to try to learn more about life, right, I ended up going into stoicism.
Yeah.
And as of right now, I'm going through philosophy, and I brought up the Nietzsche guy. So he poops on stoicism, and I think it's some good stuff in it. So before we talk about that, and I hear what you have to say, because I know you're probably you can probably beat any argument he may have down or that I'll bring up.
Okay.
Because you're an extremely stoic person, and and I do feel like that's who you are naturally. Like deep down in your core, when your back's against the wall, you'll be stoic.
Yeah.
When my back's against the wall, I just want to start scratching and kicking and spitting and.
Yeah. I get it from my grandfather.
So first, back to evolution really quick, and then because it explains it. So.
Okay.
Whatever the old everything's trying to just survive and not die, survival of the fittest or whatever it is. I now don't believe it's true. I don't think that's true. I think exactly what the guy said. I think it is. I think life's more about the will to power that he talks about.
Okay.
So, and not like whatever power or tyranny power.
Yeah.
But power in an all-encompassing way, and mostly using any power that you have. So, and here's kind of where I'll go with it. Like, having a child.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a child, how is that, whatever, survival of the fittest or not trying to die or whatever Darwin talks about?
Well, you want to know something interesting? And I didn't know this until I had kids of my own in the hospital and all that stuff. But in the first 6 weeks, the mother's body sees a fetus as intrusive. So the mother's body naturally tries to kill the child.
Really?
Naturally.
Is that true? You sure?
Yeah, and that's where you get your problems of failure to thrive and things like that, because the baby doesn't have anything like
that. Can't be true.
Yeah, look it up.
No, I don't believe that. That has to be wrong.
No way. I have 4, and I found out because...
Nah, that can't be true.
I had 1 miscarriage, and that's why. Like, the combination of the mother's body being either strong enough or not strong enough to know it can carry this thing, and this thing wanting to thrive enough to survive. So you can actually end up flushing it down the toilet.
Damn, okay.
Yeah, it's savage.
So I don't know. I can't dispute that, but
Real tough times.
Yeah, I bet.
On her more than me.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't it wasn't my body
Yeah.
going through it. Definitely more of a mental game for the woman in that moment. And my heart goes out to anyone that suffers a miscarriage of any sort. It's hard. But, yeah, that's what I found out. And the OBGYN is the one that told us that. It was like, yeah, well, actually, the first 6 weeks of pregnancy is actually the hardest because that's why we don't even count it. They don't even count it until 6 weeks past.
That is what, an actual baby or
That's,
something?
yeah. That's
Yeah.
when a fetus is actually viable.
So, because, right, a lot of people will say and feel like we're here to procreate, right? It's like, that's a lot of people say and think and feel.
Yeah.
Not everyone.
That's what I think, personally, I think that's only what men are for.
Alright, so hold up.
What?
Work with me.
Yeah.
Alright, so most people are going to say and feel like that.
Yeah.
Whether it's been conditioned for them to think like that or it's deep down in their heart they think that's true.
Yeah.
So, let's say, since there's such a huge consensus of the population who thinks that, let's say it could be one of the most important things.
What is? Procreation?
Yeah.
Okay.
It could be one because
Okay.
whatever 70-80% of the world feels it's important.
Yeah.
A couple billion people think
Yeah.
it's nothing's more important than that.
Right.
So let's call it a really important thing.
Okay.
So let's try to describe it and think where it comes from. So if we bring it back to like Darwinism or whatever,
Yeah.
if one of the most important things in life is childbirth, how could that relate to whatever Darwinism is? I don't even know it. Do you know? It's like
Well,
survival of the fittest, or you surviving. We evolved to not die. Something like that.
Yeah.
That's what it is. We evolved to not die. I think is what it is.
I think so. I think the only thing I really took from Darwinism was
Hold up. You can tell we didn't pay attention in school.
no way, no way.
I don't
But
know what them boys are talking about up there. Mostly ladies.
also, Darwinism wasn't taught in school. I don't believe.
Yeah, dude. That's where they teach you about evolution and everything.
Oh,
yeah.
that's where it came in.
Yeah.
Oh no, I did not pay attention. To
I
that.
didn't much either, but yeah, that's what they teach at school.
All right, that's interesting.
Yeah, we've evolved to not die. Evolution happens for us to keep living. That's why whatever.
A circle of life. Well, I don't know. I think the circle of life is here because it is. I think that. Well, I mean, what is pregnancy? Pregnancy happens because we first chase lust.
Oh no! Don't get too deep on me. Hold up.
All right.
I want to see if I make this point,
All
or
right.
if it makes sense to make this point.
You try to go first because I don't know. I don't know who this Darwin guy really is too much. I got to go back and read another book.
Yeah. Well, I don't agree with it. So, because to me that makes no sense.
Mhm.
If humans or life has evolved to not die or to survive in their environment, if that's why we've evolved and everything, how does that relate to having children, which is one of the most important things? I don't think it does.
I don't think it does either. I
So
don't think
it doesn't. And the Nietzsche guy, he made a great point using that, because, and he talks about the will to power, and that's where it fits. So if you think we are surviving to have power or to use power that we have, or to get more, or just whatever, we have a child to exercise our power.
Yeah.
I'm a human. I can have children.
Yeah.
I'm going to use that power and I'm going to have a kid.
Yeah.
And now here's what's interesting, because since I've heard this and felt this, I've been like relating it to everything.
Yeah.
Like anything. Like, let's see. Like, for example, we talk to exercise power.
Yeah, of course.
If you're talking to someone, it's because you are wanting to use the power that you have. You
Yeah.
want to share what you're thinking. You're exercising your power by speaking.
To try to
Everything.
get to an agreement or to prove a point.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just like, it's.
I think there's a lot of lessons that go on in good communication.
Well, communication's really big.
Yeah.
Communication's huge. I think so. I heard this.
And I think that if you were going to go off the Darwinism, that kind of theory only really makes sense for the few richest families in the world.
To not die, or to survive to not die, or whatever
Yeah,
it
to
is.
thrive to not die because they can keep then their income inside of their families to then keep themselves rich.
Which is them still exercising power.
That's the only place I think it makes sense because other than that, I think that Hermes makes the most sense.
Yeah. I mean,
To live the most natural, humble life.
so even that's exercising power. It's everything is because if you are, let's say you're trying to live like a monk.
Yep.
Humble.
Yep.
Abstinent from sex and drugs.
Yep.
You're super good at meditating.
Yeah.
And having control of your emotion.
Absolutely.
You do that just to exercise power. You're exercising the power to be able to do that.
Yeah, not allowing someone else to knock you off your focus.
Yeah, it's just...
Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you. And
your power is now untouchable.
I can bring it up for everything we talk about.
Yeah.
Metaphysically, fundamentally, it's all about exercising power. I swear.
Everything's about power.
It's pretty interesting.
I definitely agree. And we're not about strength, guys. We're talking about mental power.
So let's go back to... Now we can go back to what I was going to bring it to. What was it? What were we talking about? Because I wanted to link it to the power.
Darwinism, and then the other
Well, no, before that. Oh, yeah, Stoicism.
Yeah,
so here's how it goes to Stoicism.
Okay, but...
So, he kind of poops on Stoicism because Stoicism's, right, it's supposed to be... It's an expression. It's like an axiom. And I'll let you express it because you're a Stoic person and it's definitely your philosophy. So you can say what it means for you, this expression. Stoicism, they say, is conforming to nature. Yep. That's like the fundamental root of how it could be explained in an axiom or short sentence. Conforming to nature. What does that mean to you?
Well, I say how you can go through any situation and not be knocked off your focus. Would be, I think Stoicism would be someone like a monk, but they operate in a natural environment, an everyday environment where he and I both work regular jobs and we can use Stoicism on a regular basis. Maybe a customer will tell us we suck at our job, but we could be stoic, and instead of saying, well, you suck at owning your home. It doesn't matter. We can say, okay, thank you for your feedback and have a nice day, That's stoic.
I agree.
Stoicism is just how you handle a situation.
Exactly. So
properly.
So exactly. That's how I take the expression too. You conform to nature. I think in the expression, nature is just seen as the environment. So whether that's a screaming person and a car tire going out, you just conform and go with the flow. Yeah. You don't impress your will. Yep. Right? You don't express or impress your will on the situation because nature has delivered this to you. There's really nothing to do.
Yeah. What is freaking out going to get you? Like you said, if you're driving home from work one day, it was a 12-hour shift and your tire is flat and you hear it flapping in your wheel well, you get out and throw a wrench at it, that's not going to do anything.
All right. So, here's why he poops on it. And this guy's super notorious for pooping on religion as well. But not in an atheist way.
Right.
We can get to that potentially too. But, so, here's why he poops on it. Because, essentially back to the will to power, which, if you really think about it, you can agree that is like kind of the fundamental ground that we all walk on. All right, we had to pause it, but we're back. Let's see if we can jump back into where I was going. So, to summarize really quick, Stoicism seems to conform to the environment, conform as not impress your emotional will on it, or maybe any will at all. Maybe do nothing. Maybe be in neutral sometimes, right? Isn't that sometimes the best thing to do?
Yeah, sometimes just be silent.
Yep. So, right before that, we kind of established a will to power as the fundamental rule to life, more or less.
Yeah.
So, aren't those like two contradictions?
Yeah, it can be, because like one's like begging for more power, but like we were discussing though, mental power, right? Mental power could be like, if you're going to compare it to physical power, you know when to fight or walk away, or you know when to argue or just hold your peace.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, here's a good one. Here's a good question.
All right.
When is it ever a good idea to not exercise the power that you have?
All the time. When is a good time not to do that? Yeah, all the time. Not to exercise, right?
And please, because of course you're saying that from a place of strength. Genuinely, please explain that. How? Why?
Give me a scenario.
Well, first, isn't that not weak? Isn't you not exercising the power that you have in any way? I don't mean physically.
Yeah. Anyway, I think
Isn't not doing that just a weak move?
no. I think that's what the society wants you to think. Because if you do exercise all the strength you might have, let's say, okay, in a debate. And a debate is a good time to exercise your mental strength, right? How you communicate with someone else, and if you're trying to get to the same outcome equally, that is a good time to exercise it. But it's a trap, because if it is a physical thing, then where do you go? Courthouse.
It's a good point. It's a good point.
Then you're gonna exercise your financial wealth.
Yeah, you're super calculated. That's a good point. So that is a good point.
Yeah.
So how is it possible to conform to nature? I mean, in reality, that's not possible. You can't conform to nature because it's not. It's not possible technically.
That's what the practice of Stoicism is, because, dude, it's so far up there. Like you said, it's equivalent to trying to be a monk. You know, it's hard. It's definitely hard, because everyone's always got a point to prove. Whether if it's a verbal point to prove, a mental point to prove, a strong point to prove, the strength. Everyone's always got one. We all do. Every man out here has one point to prove.
That's a good one.
And every man out here can lose.
Here's a good
to
one.
another man.
Here's a good one. Because you made a good point.
Yeah.
I'm going to get religious.
Okay.
I want to see what you have to think.
All right.
I know you won't take anything I say personal or anything.
Guys, this is all for just content of exercising mental strength. None of it is to get personal. So I don't want to get blasphemous things in the comment section, okay?
So, yeah, it's a good point to say because...
We're talking to a lot of people right now.
Yeah. So, you said give you a scenario. Let's use Jesus.
I love scenarios. Okay,
Let's use
good.
Hold on, let me go.
Just talking about Jesus earlier. Let's go. I'm ready.
Let's use Jesus,
Let's
my guy.
go right now.
So, Jesus, he conformed to he conformed to nature.
Yep.
He's got a bunch of people coming at him with big smoke. I don't know much about the Bible, but he had a bunch of people coming at him.
Yeah.
And yeah, instead of, for example, getting physical, for example, and fighting off all this crap, probably wasn't possible. I don't know how it goes too well, but
don't worry, guys. We'll let you get him.
But you get my point. Maybe where I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
How is that exercising power? How did Jesus? How? Yeah.
You want to know how he exercised power?
He conformed to his nature.
Yeah, but you know what he did? Before, obviously, he got murked and stabbed on the cross, you know. Obviously, we all know how he went out. But when he was around for 33 years. And he would get mad at taxpayers and stuff like that. He would go into their offices and flip their tables. He would, you could find all of this. And he definitely had his little bit of uptick, you know. It wasn't too crazy. Mainly what Jesus did was he was out honestly performing miracles and healing people, the blind, the sick, the people that were outcasts, you know, the alcoholics and etc., the people that were settling with addictions. And he would give them the strength somehow, spiritually, miraculously. Everyone always called it miracles on the way that all this stuff worked. But yeah, I mean, he did have a little bit of wrath in him every now and then. It wasn't a lot, and it wasn't often. He definitely wasn't a radical guy. But he did have some radical outbursts, you know, like I said. Just off the top of my head right now, the one time was the time in the taxpayer's office when he went in there and flipped all of the tables and said that this isn't right. You're already a wealthy, you know, functioning, let's call it a country or democracy or whatever it might have been at the time. And you're taking money from people that are less fortunate. So, you know, he stood up for those people, and that's how he did that. But you know what's unbelievable is back, like, we're not talking about in a generation or an era where there were no weapons, because obviously they had arrows, they had whips, they had things. They would tie you to a post and let a lion maul you in front of thousands of people in a stadium. Unbelievable stuff. And he wouldn't conform to any of that. And, you know, eventually those weapons he would never touch would be his same demise. Very stoic.
So, let's say Jesus was human, right? So, whatever. He understood, right? Hey, I'm here. I gotta exercise some powers. I gotta exercise some power.
Yeah.
Because we aren't just surviving to. We're not just surviving to not die.
Right.
We're not just doing that. Because if we were, why you have a freaking kid?
Right.
That doesn't help me survive more. No,
Exactly.
I'm here to use my power. So he understood. Hey, I'm gonna exercise some power here.
Yep.
I'm gonna do miracles and change the world.
Yep.
Exercise power.
By helping others.
So, but when it came to whatever happened to lead to his crucifixion,
yep.
why did he maybe then decide, hey, I'm not gonna exercise power?
Yeah.
Or that's how it seems.
He was told not to. By his father, as we believe was Jesus. Mary didn't want him to die. She was at his feet crying the whole time. A heartbroken mother.
Do you think he should have fought? Personally?
I think that he had a point to prove by not fighting.
So no, he should not have fought?
I think that the world would be a much different place if he did.
But do you think he should have? It's fine to say yeah or no.
I don't think so.
You
I
don't think
think
he
that
should've?
he was still proving a point by going out the way he did.
That's fair.
I think it's commendable. What I call a G check, for real.
Do you think there's any weakness in it at all?
No, I think if you're willing to sacrifice yourself for the savior of something else, no way. Because think about it. If somebody were to kick in your door and they said, we will kill everyone in here unless if you come with us, we'll leave your family and children alone. Would you go with them or would you let your family be tortured or whatever?
That's a good point.
Yeah. I think that's what he was mainly proving a point of.
That's a good point. All right, so you might be right with this one. All right, so we'll get away from philosophical stuff. Let's hear more about you. And I have a great question, guys. You can ask people this question. Some people play ball with it, some people don't.
All right. Let's go. I like playing ball.
Yeah, some people don't like fielding this question. I've never answered it myself, to be fair. Hope that doesn't make me a hypocrite. Just describe your life in 3 minutes. It's a good question, right?
Yeah. Hold on.
It's a good question, right?
All right. Describe my life.
Yep. Tell me about your life in 3 minutes.
Stoic, humble, go-getter, and I'll leave it there.
I didn't mean... All right, so I think I worded the question wrong.
Nope.
Give me...
I answered it. Admit he wasn't ready for this.
Give me your life story in 3 minutes.
Okay. Well,
That's the better question.
all right, big bet. Here we go.
Yeah,
I
there
got
we
3
go.
minutes on you. Ready for
3
some bars?
minutes.
Y'all better keep up. So in '96, I was born in Rockville, Connecticut, Vernon, and in 2006, roughly, we moved to South Carolina. It might have been maybe before that. And then I went to middle school, got bullied, new kid on the block, whatever, cool stuff. I stood up to my bullies one day, then I get kicked out of school, but it's cool. My grandparents were like, whatever, we're going to take you to a baseball game. I saw the Atlanta Braves win. So, boom. Then, go back to school, go into high school. For middle school, high school says, we see your transcripts here and all the times you were kicked out. We don't want you here. You got to go to this school over here across the river. All right, whatever. The bad kid school, whatever. So, boom. School's not for me, guys. I didn't finish school that way. So, I got my GED, whatever. Then, I get married. I have 4 kids. That doesn't play out. 7 years, whatever.
Didn't play out?
No, it didn't play
So
out.
I don't know if the crowd heard that.
Got a divorce, kid.
Yeah.
So, moved back to Connecticut from North Carolina. And now I met this guy, but known each other for about 5 years now. And, yeah. Boom.
I think you got another minute and a half.
All right, well, right now I'm in the middle of starting 2 companies, not just one, but 2, you heard. And now here we are.
All right. Anything else?
Nah, man, I would just say
I never think you did 3 minutes.
stay humble, stay focused, and what is the big picture? What is it that you want to leave on this planet before you go? Because I don't believe in life after death, but I do believe in your name existing on this planet after you go.
It's pretty good. You fielded it pretty well. I was thinking of this question, or the answer to this question, for the first time on my drive here. And how you did it way different than I conceptualized it. It seems like you left out a lot of pain.
Well, yeah, for sure.
Why?
Because a wise man only reminisces on better days.
Really?
Yeah, a wise
But
man only
but the
reminisces on
question
better
was
days.
your life story. Obviously, your life story. I mean, pain's got to be is good, right?
Yeah, I believe it. Pain is a place where you can go to grow.
So why leave that out?
Because I feel like those are more personal questions where if somebody has a question about, look, I'm going through this scenario, then instead of me gassing that scenario out to the whole world at once, they could come to me and say, have you ever experienced this? And I could say, yeah, now let's keep it personal one-on-one between you and I, and it will mean something if I tell you.
Do you feel you're defined by your pain?
No.
No.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
What?
Some people
So
could.
you're defined by your happy times
Your outlook.
and your.
Your overall outlook in life. That's how you define it.
Is that not through the lens of the pain you felt? All right, so we had to cut. So last thing we were talking about was two things, but I wanted to go back to the pain a little bit because we missed it. So it kind of seems like we kind of came to agreement that without any pain, if you were to be creating a sculpture or philosophically speaking, a person's life,
Yep.
without any pain,
It wouldn't be solidified
yeah,
and strong.
it would just be a whimsical,
I agree.
hairy,
Because you
fairy
got to go through.
type existence.
If you think about it, it's like your trials and errors kind of define who you are because you know what you're not going to fall for again. And that pain is what taught you what you won't fall for again.
Yeah.
You know?
And
So I definitely agree. We definitely came to a conclusion on that, an agreement, if you will. And this, guys, is the reason why you communicate.
And then from there, we brought up. I was like, what kind of pain? Well, the pain from your childhood. How did that make you a stronger person? You remember what you said?
No.
You said that now you don't really care what people think.
Oh, yeah, yep.
And then I was
That
like,
part, yeah.
and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I was like, yeah, I want to hear what you had to say. I remember when I was a kid, my mom used to say that all the time, and I'd be like,
Yeah.
Mom, there's 7 billion people out here. Like, you don't care what they think about you?
Yep.
And I was like, yeah, how do you see that as a strength?
Yeah, and I said, well, because a lot of those people, what they think or their thoughts about you are normally more in a negative sense. So, yeah, you definitely don't want to get stuck in what you believe yourself is based off someone else's negative interpretation of you.
Do you think there's any strengths to caring what people think about you?
Well, of course. I mean, like I had said before, too, if it's a positive type of criticism, which is a possible thing, it's positive criticism, is going to give you ideas on, okay, this person might think that maybe I'm weak or whatever the thing might be because I need to change this dynamic of myself.
Okay.
Yeah. Positive criticism.
And then from there, I brought up dying alone. And I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, like, is that a fear? So the scenario is, obviously you're on the road to get married.
Yep.
But let's say someone was never to get married, not have kids around, no
Yep.
friends, no family, maybe not even pets, just absolutely dying alone. It's like, yeah, is that a fear that you have? And then
I said no because I already have a legacy I'm leaving behind. But I do understand that I can definitely agree that the idea of dying alone, of leaving nothing behind, or having no marriage or anything, can be scary. I think that's definitely a true thing.
and a fear that you have and most
Well,
of us would have.
I would have had if I have never chosen the path of life that I did.
And then I was like, oh, is that rational? You think it's rational to think like that?
I think it's definitely rational. I definitely agree.
Do you think if someone didn't feel like that, you think there's any strength in it?
Probably. Yeah, because I think that there's strength in not fear of dying at all. There's strength in that because you're more apt to be noble.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, it's been a good Skoom speech.
Skoom.
I think next time I'll go ahead and talk about my story a little bit.
Yep.
And then we'll just free throw and keep talking about philosophy.
But for now, we're leaving you guys with episode 1 and many to come. This has been Skoom Speech. And for now, we out.
See you, everybody.